Today we have with us Australian Grandmaster Justin Tan. He's just 21 years of age and he's already done wonders in chess. He is a dual citizen who has had a geographically diverse background, both in chess and in life. A very warm welcome to Justin. And how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, just in my uni accommodation, and yeah, I'm doing okay, thanks.
Okay, so let's start with your early years. How did you get interested into chess, and does anyone else from your home play chess, Justin?
Yeah, so my dad was a club player, like quite a good one, like 18 to 1900. And so, yeah, I remember he was teaching my sister when she was younger, and then this was when we were back in Wales, so I was kind of too young to learn properly then. But yeah, that was certainly an influence, the fact that he was a chess player. Then we moved to Australia, and I think it was in school that I learned. Well, I was fortunate enough that my chess teacher was a grandmaster. So it's Mr. Johansson. He was the chess teacher in Australia. So yeah, that was definitely an influence for me. And the fact that my dad was a club player meant we had a lot of books in his study that I could learn from. And I remember that I really loved going through all these chess books and being a nerd about that sort of thing, looking through all the books and subscribing to magazines and being passionate about it, I guess, yeah.
Okay, so your dad has really had a very, impact on your chess career, I suppose. You grew up learning from him.
Yeah, well, I think sort of indirectly. I mean, he didn't really do that much he didn't really like push me into it, I just sort of looked at all these weird looking books in his study and like, what's these things, like 12 best games of I don't know, some classical games or whatever. I was thinking that's kind of interesting. So yeah, he didn't do that much, but I think he obviously liked it very much that I was interested in chess. And I remember one time actually he was teaching me some openings. It was an English opening, which is 1c4. And I tried to play it in some school event, and I played played the other side. I played 1f4, which is the birds opening. Okay. And he was kind of looking at my game, and I'm looking at the board, and I'm like, wait on, this is not quite, something kind of wrong about this. Yeah, he taught me a few things, but it was mostly off my own accord, I guess.
Okay, that sounds great. It's always good to have someone at the back end who's from the similar background, like your dad himself is from chess background, so there might be always a learning insight from him towards you.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So we found out that you were really serious about gymnastics also at some point in your life, and you used to spend really good length hours practicing gymnastics. So what made you choose chess over gymnastics, and why did you leave gymnastics?
Yeah, well, it was not an easy decision at all. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of factors culminating into me just quitting at the end. I guess the final straw was I had this like torn ligament, or a few ligaments torn in this right wrist. So yeah, that didn't really help. But yeah, there was also the intensity of the gymnastics was kind of taking its toll on me a little bit. It was like 28 hours a week or something. So it wasn't easy. But the decision was a complicated one. I mean, as I said, there was a lot of factors, and there was a bit of pressure on both sides, I'd say, trying to be good at both and juggling between the two. It's a bit unfortunate that I never actually competed for Australia though in gymnastics. I made it to the team, but I never quite competed. But this was also a cause of my injury at the end as well, yeah.
So was it only the physical injuries that you suffered while practicing that made you think like gymnastics is not anymore your thing and you should switch to chess?
Yeah, I guess. Well, okay. I mean, as I said, there was these aspects of you also had to think ahead a little bit. I mean, gymnastics, yeah, I mean, you can really excel in gymnastics, and still there's not much in it, unfortunately. And that's just the nature of the sport because it's so difficult. I mean, you can almost say the same thing for chess, but chess is definitely it's being promoted in the right way, I think. But yeah, gymnastics, it's really it's like kind of bad value for money. You know, you put in so much work, and it's you do so much to your body, and at such a young age, you stunt your growth a little bit, as you'd know from me actually, as I'm kind of not that tall. No, it's not. That's not really a factor. But I mean, yeah, you know, it's your body kind of puts a strain on your body. Yeah.
Okay. So the Grandmaster's journey is very colorful for every Grandmaster out there, and your story also had many interesting moments. One of them was like when your GM norms were, declined by FIDE in May 2018, and then you had to wait till July 2018 to get that norm back. So did you feel dejected at that point of time in your life? And how did you manage all across those months, like getting a GM norm and then losing it, and then trying again harder next time to achieve that again in July 2018? So how was
Yeah,
that
well,
phase?
yeah, well, I have to say, yeah, this wasn't such a colorful moment for me. Actually, it was kind of dark, you know. No, it was, yeah, I remember learning that my norm was void. This was sort of during a tournament in Italy, and I have to say, I did quite badly. I kind of suffered in that tournament. So you can see the psychological effects
Right.
dawning upon my results in that tournament. But then I remember taking a step back after that and thinking, I really said to myself that I was never going to think about the norms or the title ever again. And if that made me IM for the rest of my life, then I was going to be like, you know, whatever. Whether that was a case of me just being moody about it, I don't know. But it was a positive thing, because it meant that I was putting a little less pressure on myself to make the title. And as it transpired, I didn't have to wait for very long. It was only the next tournament following on from that where I got the GM title. So yeah, it worked out okay. Yeah.
But you still never thought of coming out of the race for getting that GM title. You were not dejected to that extent, like you thought of
Not
quitting
to
on
that
chess.
extent. No, definitely not. It's just that yeah, I had to take it on the chin a little bit, because you know you always get these little setbacks in there, and that was quite a major one. But
Yeah.
yeah, I knew that that's just part and parcel of it, and the elusiveness of Grandmaster norms, you know, that really showed in that episode. But yeah, I understood that that's just the way it is, and things are never so simple. Yeah.
Right. So Parasan 2018 was the tournament for you, where you completed all your GM title requirements.
Yeah.
Did you have an intuitive feeling before going to the event, like this will be the event for me? And the moment when you knew, like you've completed all the requirements, and who was the first one you called up and told about this big day in your life?
Yeah. Well, so the first question, I don't think I don't think I had an intuitive feeling about it, or maybe I did, but I didn't. I definitely didn't want to express it. I came into it thinking, you know, I'll just play some chess and not think at all about the tournament situation or the norms or whatever. Incidentally, it was actually my friend who told me that I crossed 2,500, and I think it was round 7. I crossed 2,500. I didn't even realize, because I had not been paying attention at all to the results. And yeah, the first people who I spoke to was probably my parents. I went back to the hotel lobby and gave them a quick call. And they were obviously following the games. I mean, they were back in Australia, so I guess it was kind of late for them. But yeah, they were probably the first people I actually properly spoke to about it. And yeah, it was definitely a nice moment. And I'm actually coming back to that tournament this year. Well, that's what I plan to do. Yeah, because it's good memories and all that.
So, Justin, do you think being result oriented can definitely affect our performance? Like, if you'd been thinking all across the tournament, like whether I'll win this GM title or not, that would have affected your performance. So, you never thought about the results clearly, so that made your efforts go a little better in a little better way. So,
Yeah,
what's your take on
definitely.
that?
I mean, it's a very hard line and distinction to draw between intensity and calm, I think. And I don't always get these balances right, you know. Sometimes I put too much pressure on myself, and then I need to take a step back and say, or try and figure out, like, why am I doing this? And then I remember why. And Yeah, you do need to be result oriented to an extent. You can't just be vague about things. You need to have a goal. But at the same time, yeah, you got to have a little bit of calm about it as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty nice. Your IM to GM journey was 3 years long. Like you scored your IM title in 2015, and then you finally got the GM title in 2018. So, what was exactly your action plan during those 3 years, and what exactly did you did right in that 3 year gap that led you to the GM title?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, in terms of like a psychological shift, I guess there was a few things that I learned from those few years. So the first thing was that that was during my gap year as well, which was that you yeah, I think it's what I was saying before. Like you really got to not put so much pressure on yourself is the
Mhm.
first thing. And also, so at that point, I remember that whenever I was losing, I was getting quite upset with myself, and this I would um, you might be able to see this quite clearly that I was upset,
Yeah.
frustrated after the game. And the one thing I learned was that you should be positive, or you should trick your body and your mind, mainly your mind, I guess, into being positive, especially in a tournament, because for the following rounds, it's really going to affect you the way your attitude is. So, tricking myself into being positive about the games, that was an important thing for me. Positive after my losses, particularly, and analyzing with my opponents and trying to be outwardly respectful and all this sort of thing. That's actually very helpful, I think. And then 2017 to 2018, that was kind of when I was in the uni lifestyle.
Mhm.
And what I learned from those couple of years is that you should really make a distinction when you're in university between the uni life and work and social life or whatever you do, and chess. I mean, it's a whole different ballpark, and you can't really merge the two, because if you do that, then um, yeah, things are going to get a little confusing and fuzzy in your head, and
Okay.
and that can cause problems. Yeah.
So that was mainly the psychological shift you had in those 3 long years that led you to the GM title. Like, and no major changes in your game, playing style, or any statistics you changed for that, or was it the only the thinking pattern you followed?
Okay, so I'd say if you took it back a couple of years and you went to 2013 to 2018, so um, that 5 year period, that's sort of, I learned that calculation was very important in terms of concrete stuff and about the game itself. Um, I realized that if I could get my calculation up, there's no way I won't be 2,500. That was my thinking process, or I won't get a GM title. Um, and so I really believed that, and I believed that the difference between average players and GMs was just mere ability to calculate, and then thereafter, then you start to get a sense of other things like a positional understanding and strategic and all that sort of thing. And yeah, and that also came with playing a lot of games and experience. So that came along the way, kind of organically. But in terms of training and doing stuff myself, I was working on calculation quite a lot. I don't know if that improved from 2015 to 2018 exactly. I can't remember, to be honest. But
It definitely did. That's why you the GM title in 2018.
yeah, must have done, I guess.
Yeah. So, Justin, you took a gap year after high school. Was that decision primarily influenced by your quest to become a GM? Or how do you find playing chess without any academic pressure, and you played chess with your academic journey with and without your academic journey? So were there any differences you found out?
Yeah, so that was the main ambition, was to tend towards the GM title, I guess, in my gap year, and also to see what it's like to be a chess professional. I got to say, for me, that's not really the lifestyle I would prefer, just because I kind of like to take a holistic point of view about life, and not just focus everything on chess. I think there's a lot to be learned from other aspects, and I really feel like the difference between chess. Sometimes they say chess is a science, but I guess the difference between chess and science is science. The end goal, the consequence is meant to be some effect on on life or society. Whereas chess, it's kind of in its own realm, which is good as well. That's why I think chess is more like an art, you know. So it's you can really appreciate chess in itself and of its own accord. And you can also do other things. So I think with that academic aspect, it's really worked out nicely. And balancing that out, once I learned that you got to make a distinction between chess and your other fields of interest, then I started to enjoy that very much, this balance. Yeah.
Okay. So is it really tough to create that balance, Justin? Because I am in conversation with certain chess players, like who find it really tough to manage their school life, high school life, along with their game. And maybe during the exam duration, when exams are around about the corner, they leave playing
Yeah.
chess. They completely quit it because they need to focus on their academics at that point of time.
Yeah.
And some people genuinely lose interest in chess because they are not able to manage both of them. So you can be a very perfect example for the same, like you have managed your high school also along with the game. So how do you do that? What's the trick behind maintaining that balance?
Yeah, well, the first thing was structural. I mean, I was in a boarding house I had an international master. This is when I was 16 to 18, an international master, Adam Hunt, when I was in England, who was the school chess coach. And he would put me in line with the chess. So I can't remember which day it was, so we'd focus on chess. We'd have our little lesson. And then on Fridays, I would do a little chess, and I'd stick to doing chess work. And I had these set times where I'd do some chess, and we'd play this 4NCL, the Four Nations Chess League, this in the UK, which happens every month. And so I was playing two games every month, and that's not a lot, but it's something at least. That's a very nice setup. It's definitely different around other places. So I was fortunate enough to have that. I mean, if you're living in Australia, you don't have these league games. And yeah, so that's the main thing was the setup, I'd say, for me. But and also this really this distinction between like work and play, supposedly, or uni and chess. Not the unis also work. You know, it's just a different ballpark that you need to differentiate between.
But having a proper structure to what exactly you want to do in life, or having a structure to your single day, can create a great impact. You always structured things for yourself, like when to study and when to play the game or when to do other things in your life.
Or I try to. Yeah, that's important to have a framework, and also like coming up to some league games. So for example, my setup in the Netherlands, more or less, that I play 2 games in England, and every so often I might play 1 game in the Netherlands, which is the Dutch league.
Yeah.
And so leading up to those matches, I would kind of go through, get the chess base back up, and you know, look through my openings and my files, and you know, maybe do a bit of tactics and some blitz games or something, which I don't do too much of these days. But leading up to these tournaments, I try and pack in as much as I can of those things, and do some tactics maybe in the morning or something just before I wake up. Well, I'm still like half asleep, you know, and just doing some tactics.
Okay. So, Justin, now you're studying law. Do you find any similarities between law and chess, or is there anything you have learned through chess that you apply in your academics, or vice versa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, for me, I'd say a lot of people would say I'm quite a logical person. I mean, some people probably think otherwise, but yeah, I think that's because I think chess really helped develop my logical feeling and intuition, and I think that you can also see that in my interest for law, because I think law is pretty much you can see the basis of logic in law as well. And, you know, both, I mean, if you look at chess, it's quite predicated upon like conditionals all over the place. You have like, if I do this, then he does this. If you do this, then this. So, you know, and there's comparative analysis and induction, deduction, all these things. That's something which I notice there's some connection between law and chess. You might say that's tenuous. Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I'm not sure if there's other relations I can quite think of. That's probably the main one, which stands out to me. Yeah.
So, Justin, if by any chance there comes a point in your life, like you have to choose between law and chess, so what would your choice be at that point of time?
Well, I still haven't decided whether I want to go into the field of law. I'm just doing it as a degree. I mean, it probably will do. But I know one thing's for sure, which is that I want to do something other than chess, which is somehow useful to society. But I also want to promote chess as well. That's very important for me. I think the reason for which it's quite small in comparison to other disciplines, like, okay, if you think about it like an art, it's or like music is so much bigger than chess, and it's easily accessible to the public, whereas chess, you really have to understand the different patterns and all that. It's really complicated, and so people just avoid that, and it's not really a spectator sport. Look at a big TV, and well, they did at some point, but I mean, it's kind of boring. I like watching people like thinking for ages and pressing the clock and like what's going on, like nothing's going on for the public. So it's important for me as well to promote chess somehow. And I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that yet. I have some ideas, but I haven't really taken action on that yet. But in terms of life, I mean, I want to do something other than chess. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I saw your couple of articles on chess publishing where you wrote about opening strategies to great extent. So do you plan to have any writing profession in chess?
Yeah, I've been actually thinking about writing some books, and I have some ideas which I'm probably gonna pitch soon to one of the big publishers, like maybe New in Chess or someone like that. Yeah, and also I'd like to somehow use technology and this internet to promote chess as well. I was told by someone that in terms of commercial reasons, that's definitely not why I'd be doing like writing a book or anything, but that's just an illustration, is that doing videos like chess videos is a lot more beneficial than writing books these days. And that just kind of illustrates that people are looking much more to the screens than to the books these days. So that's some way to access or give the public access to chess, I guess. Yeah.
So you plan to promote chess from your end, be that through writing or through a video format, but you really want to promote chess from your end?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So you've played in different countries, Tan. Do you really find any difference between the chess cultures that different countries have? And what's your take on the chess culture that Australia has?
Okay, well, I'd say that Australia doesn't have a chess culture particularly. And yeah, that's something I always say, which is there's no real chess culture there. And you go to England and you've got all these guys like, Keith Arkell and Hebden, these people who have shaped the English chess styles and ways of playing. So, you've got these ways of like groveling or whatever, and Hebden playing his Hebden setups, whatever that is, like d4, knight c3 kind of attacking aggressive styles and being very creative. In Australia, you don't really get that so much. What we do have in Australia is a young, youthful top end of the field. So most of our top 10 are young players, and that's something. But there's a competitive attitude in chess. It's very much like when you go into the game, into the tournament, it's kind of like a battlefield, like no one's talking or everyone's being really serious about it, which is good as well. And you move over to England and people are kind of drinking and you see people with beers or taking it easy. Then in the Netherlands, you get a load of people, even kids, who don't seem to focus that much on openings. And this is developed because in the Netherlands, the Dutch league, which I learned to my surprise and now I'm used to, they don't give you the pairings before the games. And so you have no idea who you're playing. You just rock up to the game and you play. And so these formats, they can really shape the way a chess society might come about. Yeah. So, and yeah, it's true that the different cultures, they pertain to different styles. I mean, you look at India and China, I think there's a very tactical, people are better at tactical positions, or maybe they calculate a lot better
Right.
than people who are more used to, say, playing like classically or just reading a lot of books on the classics, but who don't grasp the concrete aspect of chess so much, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, in India, India has a very rich chess culture. People here are really passionate about chess and they really worship chess like anything and they
Yeah,
really
yeah,
go
yeah.
for it. And so you said Australia doesn't have that good chess culture. So would you like to suggest any improvements that the people in Australia should be doing to promote chess in that country also?
Well, what we can do is move Australia over to Europe, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But yeah, I know that's the biggest thing, is that we're so far away from everyone else that it's so difficult to get that feeling for the game. And well, it's also, we're a young country actually, so I mean, this is it's normal that it happens like that, as it is. Um, yeah, that's just the way. I mean, Ganguly, I think he came over to Australia maybe 2015, and probably a couple of years, and he said something similar, I think. And I think his suggestion was just to have some top players come over and give some master classes to a bunch of rising talents. And that's probably what you do in India. I don't know if exactly, but I think he was saying something like that. Maybe that's the way to go about it.
Yeah.
But we do have, for example, Ian Rogers, who hosts or who tries to organize things like that. We had an Ergas squad when I was a junior, and we still have that, I think, now. Well, it's called Jets now, and that's a similar sort of thing. We had, I think, Bu Xiangxi. Was it Bu Xiangxi? I think he came, or maybe, yeah, he came to Australia to give some lectures or whatever. So that's useful, yeah, getting these things. But I mean, really, these days with the rise of the internet, and well, it's not these days now, it's been a while.
Yeah.
YouTube videos and all that, it's easy to gain a feeling for this culture, chess culture, yeah.
Okay. So, Justin, before being a grandmaster, you also might be seeing the videos, video interviews of certain other grandmasters at that point of time. And today, you yourself are giving an interview as a grandmaster. So, how does it feel like? And back then, when you used to watch those grandmaster interviews, was there a learning insight to it?
Yeah, definitely. There's always that's some sort of approach that I like to take, is just understanding stuff, extracting information from all sorts of people. And these videos, that's a really useful platform for learning different perspectives and ideas, and taking stuff from different grandmasters, or it doesn't even have to be grandmaster, but just taking something and learning, and the pieces of advice, and they're always useful. They're always useful to give to someone else, not actually for yourself, you know. No, I'm kidding. No, actually, it's useful, yeah. Very much so, yeah.
So, according to you, one should always keep learning, no matter from what source or what platform. One should always have that learning insight.
Yeah, I definitely would say that, yeah.
Okay.
And particularly through a different lens, you know, of different people. Yeah.
Yeah, that gives you a broader horizon to whatever you're learning, because different set of people from different countries
Yeah.
obviously will be having a different thinking pattern, and everything
Yeah.
will be different in comparison to other people. So
Yeah.
that gives a geographically divergent population also.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a very good point. Like, learning from different people, because one person might be very focused on a certain aspect, you know, and then that can be useful, but someone else would some other aspect would be very important for them and their road to success, or the grandmaster title in my case. So yeah, that's why it's important to get these different views. Yeah.
Yeah, also different cultures, different chess cultures in different
Cultures.
countries promote different kind of learning.
Yes.
in the people are out there. Like being an Australian grandmaster, you might have a different learning insight or a different perspective towards chess. On the other hand, if I take someone from Russia or from India, he might have a different perspective. But if you people together can come up and share your ideas, definitely there's a learning insight to whatever you people will be discussing.
Yeah, if you have that in one platform, then that's exactly the kind of thing which really promotes chess very well, I think, and learning.
Yeah. So, Justin, currently you are in Netherlands and you're pursuing an exchange program over there. So, could you please let us know about what exactly it is and how is it benefiting you? Is it academic oriented or is it about chess?
Well, it's cold. That's one thing. That's one thing I noticed. Of course, I'm kind of used to that because I lived in Edinburgh before this.
Okay.
But yeah, it's meant to be purely an academic endeavor. Well, I shouldn't say purely because it's also meant to be kind of understanding different cultures in terms of like that's kind of outside of chess. But I'm also trying to keep up with the chess. But as you pertained to before, it's very difficult to play chess and do these academic things. So yeah, for me, it's been tricky still because the Utrecht, that's the university I'm at now for my exchange.
Right.
It's quite heavy on exams and assessments and coursework, all this palaver. So right now, for example, I've got an exam on Monday, but don't feel bad about that. That's okay. But yeah, so it's hard to fit in chess. But I will do a lot more chess as soon as I finish with the Utrecht. I'll take it. I usually have in the summertime, European summertime, where I play a lot of chess. So, yeah.
Okay. So, do you consider your playing style to be solid? As I found, you didn't lose a single game in British Championship you played, the under 21 British Championship you played. Your game was really bang on over there. So, what is your take about that?
Yeah, actually, I think so this was the British Championship. It's just I happened to also win the under 21 category of it. Because like guys like Hepton and Keith, they're definitely not under 21, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I would say in the last couple of years I definitely became more of a solid player. And I do like to try and, as I said, learn from different perspectives and get different styles and integrate that into my own playing style and kind of adapt. But it's kind of like my music taste. Like I try and listen to all sorts of different genres of music, and I always start tending towards the same kind of categories at the end of the day. I'm like, okay, I'm doing the same thing. So with chess, I would like to be able to learn from the creative minds of, say, Jabava and Rapport and Tal from the past. But instead, I do find that more appealing to me is the styles of like Kayakin or Leko or Kiri, even, which sounds kind of boring. And yeah, that's just something, it's more about a controlled game. So I play, I don't like too much to go out of my control, which is something of a weakness as well, I guess. Another thing with regard to the solidity of my play is that also this whole norm hunting thing, that really had an effect, because you start becoming more result oriented. You try and get a draw here in the final round. You got to do this is white and this is black, or against this player. That has an effect, and that can you might lose a little bit of your ambitious flair doing try and go for these norms. So for me, that's something I'm trying to change now that I don't even have to think about those things, that I should try and be a little looser with my play. That's my aim, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So, Justin, what are your ambitions with chess in the future?
Yeah, so I still want to keep playing seriously, and I want to keep improving, because I think my level now, it's not that amazing. I mean, compared to, if I want to make it as a chess player, I think just being GM is not really enough these days. So I kind of like the setup that Matthew Sadler has, or
Right.
David Smerdon when he was in Europe, which is just play these 4 and CLs and do well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that guy Sadler, you know, he just plays 2 games, wins 2 games, and then does his own job, like his computing or whatever it is, and goes back and plays the 2 games. And it's an incremental thing, but it really, really, it shows after a while. Um, so I want to keep chess within the loop of uh, my life, and I also, as I said, I want to maybe write some books and
Right.
do something at least. I don't know what yet,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, keep it alongside my academic endeavors as well. Yeah.
Okay. So do you ever plan to coach people, or do you ever plan to help others pursue with their dreams in chess? Like the other day, I was in conversation with Grandmaster Max Sellingworth, and he's been a chess coach, a chess writer, and again a chess player, of course. So he's
Right.
contributing in different domains. So do you have any similar plans, or do you really want to keep yourself confined to the game you're playing? You really want to grow as a player, but not in other professions.
Yeah, you know, I'm totally selfish about that. I won't coach anyone. No, I'm kidding. I do coach. I do coach quite a lot of people from England, and I
Okay.
think that's something I can keep up for sure as coaching. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be from England. It's just because I've been living there. I usually do some Skype lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I know with Max, he's very much. He told me that you know, he's very much interested in helping other people,
Right.
and you do need people like that
Right.
to improve the game and well, your own game if you're a student. So yeah, I think that's something I would like to do as well. Is to coach and keep coaching. Yeah.
Okay. So any words for the chess audience out there, like you really want to share with them, or non-chess audience also, anything that could be very generic to them also?
Generic comment. I'm not sure. I think okay, if you really want to improve your chess, then you need to have the passion to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, with me, like being interested in books just off my own accord.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have the drive, I think,
Mm-hmm.
that intensity that I was talking about, and you need to have the determination and the perseverance. So, for example, okay, let's say with my norm,
That got cancelled.
my unnormed norm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, you got to persevere through these things. Yeah, because it
Right.
happens to everyone, and it's not unusual. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So Justin, it was really great having you on board with us, and thanks a lot for scheduling some time for this interview.
that's it.
By the way, this reminds me that your 22nd birthday is around the corner. So
Oh yeah.
advance birthday wishes from Team Nurture.
Oh,
And
thank you very much. Yeah.
we really hope you may prosper and with your game, with your life, and you may really have a good time ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Justin. On this note, I would like to end this interview. Any other last words you want to say, Justin?
No, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot for having us. Thank you, Justin. Take care.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye.